Oh, yeah. Was that kick-ass or what? Pretty cool video. I spent probably about 1 hour putting that together. I thought I better make a video for this live, so I hope you liked that. Yeah. How's it going out there? One viewer, that's okay, no problem. Hey, look, I haven't made a live stream for a long time. Back when I used to do lives regularly, at the beginning, I had fuck all come to my live, and then over time it grew, with the people coming back. So I kind of expect that to begin with again. I hope the audio is working. If you want to give me a shout out and tell me when the audio is working, that would be cool. If not, might get some more joining or tell me where the fuck is the audio. There's no fucking audio. But anyway, it's fucking Sunday fucking night, and I thought I'll do a fucking live. Hopefully it would make the fucking Philippines YouTube community a little bit more fucking interesting compared to all the shit that we've been seeing recently from all the fucking brokies. Do something a little bit different. I'll have a fucking rant about certain subjects and shit like that. Anyway, but I gotta give a fucking public service announcement first of all, right? I've got to fucking do this. The public service announcement is that if you have your Filipina listening to this now, I really recommend you plug in some headphones or something. Don't let her hear what I'm gonna talk about. Otherwise, she'll bitch and moan about what she's hearing, and she'll be like, do you believe the stuff this guy's saying? She'll give you tons of shit about it because shit's going to go down now. I'm going to say shit that probably she's not going to appreciate hearing because, I'm just going to keep it fucking real and say shit, not sugarcoat fucking turds on the street. I'm going to say everything as blunt as fuck. Make no fucking excuses. Not going to cover anything up with fucking niceties or whatever. I'm just going to go into the rant, say shit exactly the way it is, talk about shit, and basically I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to make any fucking excuses. So if you've got somebody listening to this who probably you don't want to hear this, I'll just give you a little bit of time to plug in those headphones or go into another room or put your Bluetooth buds in and connect it to your phone so that she doesn't have to listen to it. Otherwise, she's just going to give you heaps of shit if she overhears all this sort of stuff. So I'll give you an opportunity to do that. I'll talk about some other random shit for the meantime while you do that if you want. But if you're just by yourself, hey, no problem. Nobody's going to overhear what I say, so especially a woman, so it's not going to matter. But if you've got somebody in the background, your significant other or whatever, I recommend you probably don't want to let her hear this stuff, right? So that's my public service announcement. We're going to keep shit real tonight. I don't want her nagging you about the shit that I'm talking about. Oh, do you believe what he's talking about? And then give you shit about it. And then you have to fucking explain, oh, no, honey, I don't believe any of this. But don't worry, honey, I still love you. Don't worry about what he's saying. So anyway, that's the fucking announcement, right? That's the fucking warning. So if you've got somebody in the background listening to this, you don't want to hear this, do something about it now. Because I don't want to get you into the shit, basically. So that's the opportunity you've got to remove the person or remove you and go somewhere else or whatever. If you don't want somebody else to hear any of this sort of stuff anyway. But so fucking hell. I mean, what's the fucking subjects at the moment? I'll talk about random shit while you're doing the you're plugging the headphones in and hiding yourself from your Filipina who you don't want to hear the shit with. But the fucking random subjects, fuel prices, man, it's fucking the Philippines up, right? Diesel's fucking going up. People are crowding the fucking metro trains now. They can't fucking get to work. They haven't got enough money to pay the fucking jeepneys and the tricycles and shit because the diesel keeps on fucking going up. No end in fucking sight. And as you know, when fuel prices go up, it's going to cost more to transport the shit. And then the food price is going to go up and make all the shit fucking worse. So that's not going to fucking help. Who knows when this fucking war is going to be over and the fuel prices can come down again. Hopefully, I don't know, I reckon Trump should really invite the other countries in the Middle East to do flybys over the strait there and knock out any motherfucker that's trying to stop any of those tankers getting through. I reckon he should not have to rely on the US military to do that. I reckon he should invite any country in the Middle East, which there's an alliance, and just come and fucking patrol the strait. And the more countries that put their military into the strait and protect it, the more we're going to get the fucking tankers coming through, right? And the more tankers we get, the more supply we get. Hopefully, it will alleviate all that shit eventually, and there won't be so much of a fucking crisis. Not just for the Philippines, for all the other countries as well. I mean, all the other countries are fucking suffering at the same time. It's not just the Philippines. You've got Thailand going nuts as well. People can't line up enough to get the fucking fuel in the fuel stations there as well. It's fucking everywhere, spreading like fucking wildfire. And the poor Filipinos, who get paid fuck all to do their job every day, they've got to fork out more money to get to work. And they're not getting any increase in their salaries and shit like that. And so they have to cut back on cut back on their expenses even more, right? And some of them, you might have seen some of the YouTube videos there. Some of them are walking to work now. It's getting a bit crazy, right? Because they can't take the metro trains anymore, and they can't pay any more money for the jeepneys or the tricycles or whatever. And some of them just don't have any extra fucking money, and they're having to walk to work along the fucking streets. So fuck knows how long it takes them to fucking walk to work. Some, I don't know how far away they fucking live from their work, but some of them are probably walking a long fucking way to get to their office jobs or whatever the hell they're doing every day. I mean, imagine that, eh? They're having to do all this kind of shit for a fucking war that they have nothing to do with. Fuck yeah. I don't know. So this fucking thumbnail, right, that I put up, I was looking at this and I thought, what's a good fucking story to go with this thumbnail? I thought, let's say for some bullshit, I fucking time traveled in my fucking tricycle. I sped up to fucking 88 miles per hour and I fucking time traveled into 2050. And I was walking down the street in the Philippines and I come across this guy. I mean, you fucking look at him, right? He's a classic example of what you don't want to fucking be. So imagine you're this guy in 2050, right? You're sitting there, you've got fuck all, you've got dirty jeans, you've got dirty shirt, you've got only a fucking cup to piss in, you've got no fucking money in your pocket, and you look like your life has gone to absolute shit. And I thought, yeah, that's a good fucking example, right? If you don't fucking do things right, you'll end up looking like this motherfucker. So I thought, well, how about we talk about some things to fucking avoid so you don't end up looking like this guy in 2050? That would be a good idea. How about spreading some advice? Because, like, I'm not some fucking random expat that's moved to the Philippines for 6 months, and I'm just starting to make fucking videos about being a fucking expert, giving out all this fucking expert advice on fucking YouTube. when I've only been in the Philippines for like 6 months or 1 year or 2 years or whatever the fuck. Actually, if you want to know the fucking truth, I've been dealing with Filipinos and the Philippine culture since back in fucking 2001. So what's that? 25 years I've had exposure to the Philippines and the culture. So I should know what I'm talking about a little bit, right? Like I'm not your typical motherfucking expat that goes there and starts dishing out fucking advice, thinking they're a fucking expert after they've lived in the Philippines for 6 months or 1 year or some shit like that. So I should have a clue about what I'm fucking talking about a little bit, right? So now that we've got that out of the way, I hope you've removed whatever person you've got in the background who you don't want to hear this shit by now. So I hope everything is cool. Or if you're by yourself, okay, everything's cool. You've got nothing to hide to anybody. That's cool. We can get on with it, right? So let's talk about some shit. So you don't want to end up like that motherfucker in the thumbnail, right? So I thought, well, what's all the shit that I know that I can give advice on to stop you end up being like that motherfucker in the thumbnail? What's some of the shit that I can advice that I can tell? Well, having been exposed to the culture for the last 25 years, I've heard a lot of stories. I've watched a lot of expats on YouTube getting fucked over in the Philippines. I can see the road they've gone down many a time. And if you just need to go on YouTube and search for this shit, you'll find an endless supply of stories on YouTube about some new fucking expat that's come to the Philippines, found the love of his life, and then he's been fucking majorly screwed over, right? There's so many fucking videos out there about that sort of shit. And to be honest, they're all following the same sort of motherfucking pattern that I can see, right? Everybody's making the same fucking mistakes again and again and again. So what are those fucking mistakes? Well, let's get into that a little bit. I'm a little bit fucking tired tonight, but I'll give it a go. We'll see how we go about this. One of the first topic I'll fucking rant on about is guys that are coming to the Philippines and getting single mothers. I think that's got to be one of the biggest fucking mistakes you could ever do. Tons of guys are fucking doing this sort of fucking shit. Example, I'll talk about them, but one YouTuber I followed for years is Brian Philly in the Philippines, right? So he's a classic example of somebody that's done that. I mean, to be honest, I haven't got anything against him. He's an okay guy. I think he's okay. It's just that the boundaries that he's got for himself, I think, are fucked up. And what I mean by those boundaries is that he's put himself in the position of marrying a Filipino with kids. I think that's a mistake. I think, I mean, why would you want to put yourself in that kind of position, right? Where you have to pay pension money or whatever monthly income that you're getting towards some other guy's kids. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking make sense to me, eh? I've tried to wrap my head around it, but I can't fucking get my head around it at all. It doesn't make sense. If you look at Brian's situation, nothing majorly against Brian Philly in the Philippines, right? But he, like I said, he's an okay guy. I've got nothing really against him, but I just think that the boundaries the lifestyle that he's created for himself, by overstepping that boundary, weighs him down. And the whole concept about financially supporting some other guy's kids, I just don't agree with. I think it's a lot of guys are doing this. They think, well, if I go and support her kids, she will be thankful to me, and that'll keep us together. The problem with that, of course, when you're doing that, is some other dude out there has created these kids, nothing to do with you. I'll call her your girlfriend or your wife. Before you came along, she was with another guy. She was fucking him, and the whole thing. And they were fucking for how many years? And then all of a sudden she has a kid with the guy, right? But where the fuck are these Filipino fathers, right, of these single mothers? They just fuck off. They understand quite well that if they stick around, they're going to be burdened for the at least 21 years of the life, right? So what do most of them do? They just, after they knock the bitch up, they just fuck off, right? So that's the main problem in the Philippines, right? So many single mothers out there with no financial support. And of course, what do they do? What's the only thing that they can do? They just hope for a foreigner to come along and save them. So you get plenty of fucking Captain Saberhose coming along and saving these women. But the mistakes these guys are making, they're thinking, if I come along and save her and save her children, then she'll stay with me, right? But do you have a responsibility to be paying for another guy's kids? No. I don't agree with that. If you look at Philly in the Philippines, for example, he had a career being a prison guard. And obviously, once you do so many years of being a prison guard, they probably give you some sort of pension later on when you retire. So I guess he's living off that money. But you've got to remember the money he's getting at the moment each month. He had to work for that money for how many years, potentially decades. He had to work in order to get that pension to come to him later on. Was his wife around to help him? No. Was he responsible for his wife's children when he was working in the US? No. So he never received any help while being in the US. But all of a sudden, the wife is like, well, if we get married, then you have to support my children. I mean, there's one in Manila at the moment graduating. He's in Angeles City at the moment. So he spent a lot of money to go to Angeles City to go and see her graduation. That's essentially what the trip's for. Not only that, he spends a lot of money for what's her name, Hannah Grace, to come back home to the island. So there's a lot of money involved, and the trap I'm seeing is you get involved with a single mother that has potentially more than one kid, and let's say the ages vary a little bit, right? So the age of the oldest is now at an age where you have to pay for her education. And then you have another younger one, then you're setting yourself up for having to pay for the education of the next kid or the next kid or the next. So, it's just a rabbit hole of expense. To be honest, I think who should be ultimately responsible for the kids if you take on a single mother? I think, to be honest, in my opinion, it should be the mother should be the sole financial person who's responsible for taking care of her kids. I don't think it should be the job of the foreigner that comes along and starts to date her. She created the children with another guy. It's nothing to do with you. So why are these motherfuckers coming along and saying, "Oh, honey, I love you. I'll pay for the stepchildren, which are not mine." It just doesn't fucking make sense. Every time I think about it, it's like, why are these motherfuckers doing this? Are they trying to? Is it basically all influence? It's like, I'll pay for you, I'll pay for your kids, and in return, you'll stay with me. Now, that doesn't always fucking happen, does it? Now, here's the real fucking danger with this. You take on a single mother and you're being responsible for her kids as well. You're not thinking about the future. That's one thing, because let's just say in the future something happens with this relationship and you separate from her. Not only are you losing the relationship with her, but you sever the relationship you have created with the stepchildren as well. And let's say after you've broken up, you're walking down the street one day and you happen to see one of your stepchildren walking the other way. Oh, hello. A bit awkward, right? And you reach out and you go, "Hi, how are you doing?" And they just look at you, say nothing, and keep fucking walking. That's going to be the situation. Why? Because after you break up with her, who are the children going to have an alliance with? They're going to have an alliance with their mother, right? Not with you. So what is the mother going to say to the children? I broke up with him. I don't want to have anything to do with him anymore. If you happen to see him, I don't want you to say anything to him. So you meet up with your old stepchildren one day. They're not going to want to have anything to do with you. They're probably not even going to want to communicate with you. And there's nothing you can do about it. And, if they say something to you and word gets back to their mother that they were talking to you, she's not going to like that. And she's going to give them a lot of shit for talking to you or being involved with you. And the kids are going to get into trouble. That will probably be what's communicated between the mother and the children after you break up, right? Don't have anything to do with this guy. Don't talk to him. Because, she's not going to want to have her children to have anything to do with you. You got to remember, right? Things completely change when you break up, especially if the breakup was bad. It could be a mutual thing. It's like, oh, I think it's best we should break up. It might work out okay, but you're going to sever your relationship not only with her but with the children as well, and that's going to hurt even fucking more than just separating with a woman. So these guys, these Captain fucking Saberhose that come along, they need to think a little bit about the future if shit doesn't work out. Because, let's say that they spend fucking 10 years or more paying for the education of these kids, which are not their responsibility. And then one day, shit hits the fan. Say goodbye to all the money you invested into them, because now these children won't even fucking talk to you anymore. Right? So, shit gets really interesting, isn't it? It's all fucking fun and games when the relationship is good. But when it turns to shit, like, watch out. You say goodbye to all the money you've spent on her kids. That's fucking gone. And the kids might not even fucking talk to you fucking anymore. She won't want to talk to you anymore. You won't want to talk to her anymore. And shit's going to get awkward. Not only that, don't forget that adultery is a crime in the Philippines. When you're dealing with a single mother and she is previously married to the father of her children, you've got to remember there's an adultery law in the Philippines that is potentially high risk to you. Because, when you're having relations with a woman that's actually technically married, then there's a possibility for the husband to blackmail you as well, especially he finds out that you're being involved with his wife. He can make a case against you as well in the court, and he can get you into trouble, and he can get his ex-wife, which is actually technically still his wife, into trouble as well. And you could be looking at getting arrested over that and spend some fucking time in jail over that shit as well. And, we all know that, there's no fucking divorce in the Philippines, that you can get an annulment, but that's going to cost a shitload of money. And some guys are probably spending money for that as well. They're going to fork over like 100,000 pesos to the woman just so that she can get an annulment. But like, not every expat is going to be able to do that, especially the motherfucking brokies that go to the Philippines, right? They will just, don't worry, nothing will happen. And, often the woman will be like, oh, don't worry about my husband. He's not going to cause any trouble. Just trust everything is going to be okay. But you're taking a risk, right? Because, you're taking a risk that one day, in the morning, you're just woken up, you're walking out of her house or whatever, and the fucking popo come along and arrest your ass, and you're in jail for fucking adultery. Shit could happen, right? Your wife, your new girlfriend, can't give you any guarantees that's not going to happen. There's a potential that shit could happen. And if you go and piss off the ex-husband for some reason, he can blackmail you over. He could come to you and say, I know what the fuck you've been up to. You've been with my wife, even we're not living together, technically still his wife. He could be like, well, hey, if you don't pay me 100,000 pesos, I'm going to make a fucking case against you and you're going to be in fucking jail. So, especially if the guy is not doing very well, or he's got a grudge against the wife, or he just doesn't fucking like you, screwing his wife, or he just doesn't like you, period, or he's fucking jealous of you being a foreigner, you've got more money than him. I mean, there's loads of fucking reasons shit could turn fucking nasty, right? So I'd say, that's probably something you have to be aware of when you're talking to women on the internet, Filipinas, and they say, yeah, I've got kids. Next question should be, did you actually marry the father of the kids? And if the answer, which in the majority of the cases is probably yes, because, in the Philippines, as we all know, marriage sort of comes together with kids. That's sort of like the expected thing to do. You get married and you have kids. So most of the time it's going to be that, if you're talking to a single mother, it's probably highly likely that she's actually married. So she's going to say, I've got kids. Next question should be, did you get married to the guy? And if she tells you yes, and remember, at the same time, you're trusting that she's telling you the truth. What if she doesn't fucking tell you the truth and says, no, I never married him, but actually she was married? Because she knows if she tells you that she got married, it's going to put you off, right? It's going to push you away. She knows that the more problems that she could give you, the more likely you're going to disappear and you're not going to be interested. So you've got the potential for the married woman to lie to you, to cover up the fact not only that she's married, but the fact, as we all know, a lot of the single mothers actually claim that they don't have any children at all. They pretend that they're childless because they know a lot of foreigners won't act like Captain Save. It's more likely she's going to get a foreigner if she tells everybody she hasn't got any kids, because the guy's going to be like, oh, well, you don't have any kids. That's less problems. Are you married? She goes, no. Okay, less problems. Well, I'll marry you, but he doesn't fucking know she's married already. He thinks he's going to marry her in the future, potentially. And then one day he finds out he can't fucking marry her because she's already fucking married. So, there's It just doesn't make sense. You're going to put yourself in the fucking hot seat. So I guess for all of you that are listening, you're either by yourself at the moment, you're not involved with anybody, or you're involved with the Filipino who actually is not married and is single and doesn't have kids, or you're involved with a single mother. So what I'm saying is the single mother thing, I really don't think that's a good idea. It doesn't make sense. I mean, you're paying for another guy's sperm, aren't you? Right? That's what essentially you're doing. Who should be responsible for these kids? It should be nothing to do with you, in all honesty, right? It should be the responsibility to financially take care of these kids should come down to the biological mother and the biological father. It should have nothing to do with you. But yet these guys are still going to the Philippines, and maybe it's out of fucking desperation or something. I don't know. But they're just hooking up with these single mothers and thinking, well, if I save her, if I give her money and, support her kids, then she's probably not going to walk away from me. Okay. That could be correct for some time, but that doesn't mean you're going to have a good relationship with her. The other point, of course, is, as we all know from watching other videos, they say all the same thing, is when you get involved with a single mother, you are never going to be her top priority no matter what, right? Her priority is always going to be to her kids. So again, you're disadvantaging yourself by getting involved with her, because she's not going to place you in a level of importance compared to the kids as well. So again, you're weighing yourself down. You're giving yourself even more problems. You're spending money on kids which are not yours. You're potentially could be held up for adultery under the law. It just doesn't make sense to me. And I think the only reason these motherfuckers are doing this, the only reason I can think is the level of desperation. I mean, look at the Philippines. I mean, geographically, the population, there's probably, tens of millions of genuine single girls that are not married, who don't have kids, in which you could have that's your selection. There's a huge selection of women in the Philippines. There's technically, statistically, there's no need to resort to a single mother, right? You can avoid all of those problems, potential problems, and allocating a big chunk of your monthly income to support her kids. You don't need to do that. You can spend that, instead you can spend that money on yourself, or you can spend that money on building a future with a woman that's single, not married, doesn't have any kids, and then one day, if things work out, then you can spend that money on raising your own biological kid. Doesn't that make more sense? Right? At least you're spending money on a kid that's yours. So, when I watch episodes of Philly in the Philippines, I really wonder about Brian's boundaries. I think he's. I think the problem is it's the level of selection. It's the area of selection these guys are dealing with. Maybe sometimes it's the first woman that comes along. Potentially, they can lie to you, lead you on, tell you bullshit. You get feelings, you get emotions involved, and then they're going to spring on you. Oh, I've got kids, by the way. And then you're like, oh, thanks for telling me. It would have been good if you told me before I started developing feelings for you. This happens, right? Filipinos are not they're not honest sometimes. And the reason why they're not honest, of course, is, uh, they live in a country which is a bit of a dog eat dog fucking country, right? So, they're always desperate for money. They sometimes have to resort to telling bullshit to other people in order to get what they need. It's just the environment, of the country. It's just the culture. You can't go to the Philippines and expect honesty. You just cannot. That's what I've learned over like many fucking years of dealing with Filipinos. I hear stories. They tell somebody one story and they tell somebody another story. It's just a fact of life. And if you want to risk believing the story you hear from them at the beginning, that's up to you. But a lot of these guys just are going to the Philippines. They're expecting people to be honest with them in the same way that people are honest with them in their own country. But the reality is, you're not in your own country. You're in a different country. You're in a third world. You've entered a country which people don't hold honesty as high as the country you've come from. And, if you go there, you're a bit desperate. You believe everything that's told to you. You can set yourself up for a lot of fucking pain and failure simply because you haven't had the experience in the country yet to know that not everything that's said to you is going to be the truth. And I guess a lot of guys are falling for this shit. They're believing everything that they're being told at the beginning. They get emotionally involved. They start giving financially. And then later on, they're hearing the truth. And then they're sort of weighing up in their head, what do I do? She's told me yes, but the answer is actually no. What am I going to do? Oh, a lot of guys are like, well, I can continue as an option, or I can say fuck it and walk away. The problem with saying fuck it and walk away is, of course, they feel a great loss emotionally, and they're going to feel a great loss financially as well for all the money they've given her so far. So I guess a lot of guys are just choosing to stay with them rather than experience the emotional loss and the financial loss as well. The problem with this, though, is you're already starting to travel around the whirlpool that takes you down to the bottom of the whirlpool in which you get sucked away. If you choose to continue on this journey, you've got to realize that you're going to stick with a woman that's been dishonest with you at the very beginning. So if she's been dishonest with you at the beginning about stuff and you're going to stick with her, what do you expect to happen in the future? Well, if history is anything to go by, then you've got to accept that probably in the future she's going to be dishonest to you again and again and again, and you're going to continue to lose out. So is that acceptable to you? Are you willing to be in a relationship based initially on lies and deception, and then you say, well, I'm not going to leave you, I'm going to continue to risk the lies and deception to come again and again and again, and I'm going to put up with that? The answer should be no. The answer should be as soon as you know about lies the first time, you should fucking run. That should be the correct strategy, because I mean, what are you going to do by setting yourself up to remain in the relationship with her if she's already fucked with you at the beginning? Why would you want to continually punish yourself and be in a relationship based on lies and deception? I'm not saying all of them do this, but I believe at the beginning there is from my experience, there's a big trend with Filipinas to make the picture look really rosy. so that you choose them. Often it's not about telling you the complete truth. They'll miss stuff out as well. Stuff that they know that you'd want to hear, but they just don't tell you, and you learn later on. And of course, there's a lot more potential for lying and being deceptive to you if she's already married and she already has kids, because she's got an initiative to not tell you the truth, to cover up those disadvantages, those things which are not going to drive you to be with her. She's got a desire to do that because it, she's going to benefit herself by not telling you the truth, get you hooked in emotionally and financially committed, and then lay it on you later on, and then see how you react. But in the meantime, she's going to get you hooked in. She's going to get your financial resources now rather than never. So, there's a lot of short-term gain to be had by lying to you or not telling you the full truth. A lot of guys are getting fucked up like this in that way, especially. A lot of, they see a lot of expats on. This is the problem with fucking YouTube. YouTube allows expats to show the world their life in all its splendor in the Philippines, right? They're making videos about everything that's wonderful in the Philippines. They're highlighting how wonderful their relationships are. They're not telling you everything, right? They're not telling you what's really happening in the background. They're not telling you about all the domestic problems they're having, all the lies and all the fucking deception that they've put up with, all their disadvantages that they're experiencing, all of the disadvantages with living there, or the difficulties that they're having. They're not showing you that in the YouTube videos, because they know that people respond to positive shit, not to negative shit. And a lot of these fucking brokies, they want more views, right? They don't want you to view their channel less. So they're going to portray as everything as being fucking rosy. And then you get the other motherfucking expats who are in another country. They're going to view these YouTube videos and say, well, look at this guy. Everything is fucking rosy for him. He's having a wonderful fucking life in the Philippines. Nothing seems to be wrong. The relationship seems to be really good. Well, I want the same thing. But at the same time, he's not being told about all the shit that's happening in the background, right? So just remember, if you haven't been to the Philippines before, if you're not living in the Philippines, you need to look at these YouTube videos from these expats and realize that you're getting a particularly influenced view only, right? They're not telling you about all the shit that they have to put up with at the same time, or all the problems they're having with their Filipina. You're not going to get that in the fucking video, right? All that stuff is going to be hidden because they're showing off to the world how wonderful their fucking life is. And the same shit happens on fucking social media, right? These women are doing the same thing. They're not telling the world, they're fucking broke and shit like that. They're creating the fucking pictures on the beach and acting like their life is fucking wonderful and shit like. So it's fucking widespread shit that the image that we're getting from social media and fucking YouTube. The problem is these motherfuckers are watching these YouTube videos from these expats and thinking everything is fucking rosy, and of course they want the same thing, right? So they think, well, these Filipinas they must be really good women, and often you hear the comments, oh, these Filipinas are wonderfully family-oriented people. They have a lot of value for their family and all this sort of shit. The view can be a bit distorted. If you know a little bit about Filipino culture, you'll also understand that a lot of these families are not as fucking rosy as what they make out. There's a lot of shit that happens in the background too. There's a lot of jealousy that happens. There's a lot of violence too. For example, when the OFW returns to the province or whatever and brings back something, and then they don't share it with all the family, the other family members get pissed off, they get bitchy, they get fucking violent. I've heard of cases where fucking machetes have come out and they're fucking threatened to kill the fucking OFWs for not giving their equal share and all of this fucking shit. The crab mentality, if you've heard of that, it's exactly what happens in the Philippines as well. You know, the crab mentality comes from the idea that you put a whole lot of crabs in a bucket. And what tends to happen is when the crab is nearly crawling out of the bucket, you'll get other crabs grabbing them and dragging them back into the bucket because they're jealous. They don't want anybody to escape. They don't want other crabs to escape the bucket. And the same fucking thing happens in the Philippines as well. When somebody is doing well, when somebody's making a lot of money, normally from working overseas, you'll get other family members there. They become extremely bitchy and jealous, and they want part of the money too. If they don't get all the money that they think they deserve, all fucking hell rains down on the OFW. Shit like that, for example, is not talked about in a lot of YouTube videos. They just, expats are saying, "Oh, the family is wonderful. They're so welcoming to me. Blah 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 blah. They have such fucking wonderful family values and things like that, right?" A lot of it can be an illusion. A lot of the shit is withheld to make the image of the family look good. Sometimes the expat doesn't find out about these things until much later on, until after they've made the YouTube video and they've portrayed to the world how wonderful the families are. They're caring, they're loving, they're wonderful. Nobody fucking finds out. And even if they do find out, you think they're going to create a YouTube video in which they explain to the world that somebody in the girl's family got pissed off because they didn't receive everything that they thought they were entitled to, and then they went and got the fucking machete out of the drawer and threatened to fucking kill one of their own family? You think you're going to hear about that in the fucking YouTube video? No, you don't hear about that shit. But it fucking happens. That's real shit, right? You don't get exposed to that the first time you go to the Philippines. You only learn about this stuff after you've had a lot of experience with the culture. When your woman has spent a long time with you and is then comfortable to tell you about the real problems in the family, which, you might have to wait a long time until you hear that because, she's going to paint a rosy picture for you. Everything is fine. But then eventually you'll hear some news about something that's happened and you'll ask her about it and she'll say, "Oh, well, yes, this is what's really happening. Somebody's jealous. They haven't got the inheritance that they wanted from the grandmother dying or the grandfather, and now they're physically abusive to the rest of the family and shit like that." I'm not making this shit up. I've heard lots of cases of this. This is pretty well known. But at the same time, like I'm saying, it's hidden a lot as well, because these girls, they don't want to paint you a picture of a dysfunctional family that's highly jealous, because they know at the beginning it might drive you away, and you might think, "Oh fuck, if the family is willing to fucking kill each other, well, I'm not going to be into that. We'll see you later, right?" I think we'll part ways at this point and, have a nice life. See you later. They know if they paint this picture early on that the family is dysfunctional, it's probably going to drive you away. So I'm just saying all these things are important to think about if you're planning to go to the Philippines. If you're planning to deal with Filipinos, the way I look at it sometimes is I look at the Philippines as being a a fucking Amazon jungle disguised as a city. Sometimes it feels like the same thing, because it's like the city is just like a fucking Amazon jungle full of hungry fucking animals that are willing to just about do anything to survive. And if you're going to the city and you're thinking it's a city full of good people and it's not a fucking jungle, then you're going to be opening yourself up to potentially a lot of shit, especially if you go there with the belief that you're going to believe everything that everybody tells you. And that's highly likely, because you yourself, you want to see the rosy picture of everything. It's just the way we are, right? We tend to want to see the everything that's wonderful, and all the shit that happens we're not really interested in it. So it's like you take a biased view at the beginning of things, and sometimes that can be at your fucking detriment as well. Like you land in the Philippines, right? And it's hot as fuck. You get off the plane, it's like fucking 40 degrees, you know, and you're used to a normal country that's well below that temperature. You go, oh fuck, it's too fucking hot. But you're not bothered by that. Inside your mind, you're thinking, when am I going to see my fucking sweetheart, right? That I've come to see. So, you know, you're pushing aside the fucking temperature problems. You're pushing aside the predatory environment that you just stepped into. You're stepping inside the country, which is highly corrupt, and people can make problems go away with money, etc. You tend to, you know, sweep all that shit away, and you just focus on the good things. And that sort of shit can get you into trouble. Another problem too is when you get there, you'll probably want to be a people pleaser as well. You probably try to want to make everybody happy, so you potentially arrive at your girlfriend's province or place, meet the family. You want to show them that you're a good person. You're quite giving. They're quite happy to see you. Sometimes not due to the fact of who you are, but what you can provide them. So this is another fucking problem. You think they're happy to see you about who you are as a person. You know, you're, oh, look at me, I'm a good person, I'm a good foreigner, a good personality, good attitude, whatever. But you flip the coin and think about how they're viewing you. Ah, our daughter's got a foreigner now. Most foreigners are rich. That means everybody can get something. So we'll be really happy to fucking see him when he turns up at the Bamboo family house. Not necessarily because we think he's a good person, but what he can provide. And wow, he's probably going to give our daughter a lot of money, and then we're going to twist her arm to give us some of that money as well. So that's what they're really thinking, right? Especially when you consider that some of these families are fucking poor, and it's a fucking daily struggle to get enough money together to buy fucking food at the extremes. So, you know, when they say, wow, you know, here's a golden ticket that's just walked up to our house, you know, we'll try as hard as we can to twist our daughter's arm to pass on some of that money to us. And then from her upbringing, she's been culturally indoctrinated, as they are, to be the provider of the family. So she's got an obligation to provide to her family no matter what. So whatever money you give her, it's going to go to the family whether you know about it or not. So that's another thing to think about. You know, the cultural differences as well. You know, in Western countries, we don't tend to financially support our wife's family. We don't generally have to do that. You arrive in the Philippines and you roll up to your girlfriend's house, that's what they're thinking. Ah, we've got a source of cash now from the foreigner. virtually a walking fucking ATM machine. But what a lot of guys going there, they're thinking, oh no, I'm not an ATM machine. I don't have to do that. She's telling me I don't need to give any money to the family, but she's only fucking telling you that because she's not giving you all the information about the obligations that she's got. Because if she starts to tell you from the beginning, if you give me money, I have to give a lot of that money to my family, you're going to be less inclined to give her any money at all. Because she's going to be thinking, well, his culture is not exactly based upon him supporting her family. I mean, they're not stupid, right? They're not fucking stupid. They paint a picture which is favorable to you. If that involves telling you lies, it's going to fucking happen. That's another fucking issue that I've heard so many times in the past. Another big issue I've seen again and again and again. It's when the foreigner brings the Filipino back to his country, and then he thinks to himself, all I need to do is support her, which is the normal case in Western countries, right? Your main obligation is just to support her, not her family. So often the picture gets skewed. There's a lack of communication, truthful communication, where before she comes to your country, she should be telling you she's got an obligation to provide for her family in the Philippines. But she knows if she tells you that, you might be disagreeable and you might not want her to come to your country because of that. Because your principles are like, I shouldn't have to support her fucking family. The only thing I've got responsibility is maybe to support her, but I'm not fucking sending money to her family. Her family can fucking support themselves. It's got nothing to do with me. That's incompatible with the way I've been raised. It's incompatible with my culture. Right? So often the case is that there's a miscommunication or there's lies. She said, no, you don't have to support my family. I'm happy to come to your country. And then what happens? Some time might pass in which he's given her money every week, or she manages to get a job. And then all of a sudden you see a pattern that your girlfriend or wife is working in your country. You sort of know how much money she's making. But then she's coming to you and saying, honey, I don't have enough money this week. And you're like, well, actually, your expenses every week is not that much because I'm paying for half of everything as well, or maybe more than half. So you haven't got a lot of obligation as far as expenses are concerned. But now you're coming to me and telling me that you haven't got any money, but you're receiving money from working. How can you tell me you've got no money? So sometimes shit just doesn't make sense. And at the same time, she's not telling you, oh, by the way, when I'm not with you, I walk down to the Western Union and I'm sending my family large sums of money every month. But I'm not telling you about that. Again, lies and deception. Because she knows you're going to get pissed off if she tells you the truth. So shit like that doesn't make sense. How can you have no money? You've just been paid. You haven't brought anything lately, and you've been paid. So how come you're coming to me and saying you haven't got enough money? And shit can get even fucking worse than that. So the guys are like, what the fuck are you doing with your money? And she's not going to tell you that she's sending large sums of money back home because she knows you're going to get pissed off about that and potentially kick her ass to the curb. So again, you're setting yourself up for lies and deception. And lots of guys don't find out that their wife or girlfriend has been sending huge amounts of money back to the Philippines, sometimes until years later. So in other words, she's lied for years. Every fucking month, she hasn't been transparent. She's kept the truth, and things just don't make sense. How come you don't have a lot of money? You've got a good job. Where is your money going? And she's like, she makes some fucking more lies to cover up the fact that she hasn't got money. She'll say, well, I brought something, I brought this, I brought that. And that's lies. And then you might uncover that she's making up lies to cover up more lies about sending money home. So it tends to get fucking worse and worse. And then the shit hits the fan one day when, after years of sending money back to the Philippines, you just happen to accidentally find out what she's been really doing. Either she confesses at some stage, or you find some inconsistency with some records or whatever, or you hear the truth from one of her friends by mistake, or somebody confesses or whatever, and you're like, hang on a minute, we've been together for many years, and you've lied to me every fucking month about sending money back to your family. And it could be at the very beginning you've said to her, look, I'm happy for you to come to my country, but the way my culture works is we work together as a couple to build our future together. It doesn't mean I'm building your family's future. It means we're building it as a couple. But now you're fucking telling me a lot of your money has been sent back to the Philippines. And this fucking explains why shit really hits the fan later on with a lot of these couples. And she's like, well, I lied to you because I've got an obligation to support my family. And he's like, well, why didn't you tell me the truth at the beginning? And she can't say, well, if I told you the truth, you'd never allow me to come to your country because you think that our cultures are incompatible, because you don't believe that you should be subsidizing the money to my family, right? And this shit happens all the time. Granted, some Filipinos are actually truthful at the beginning and say, well, I have an obligation culturally to support my family, and I need to send them something every month. Sometimes that happens, but in a lot of cases, the picture again gets painted in a rosy way to the foreigner to think that he's not obligated to support the family. And then he believes for years that he's not doing that. And then, like I say, the shit hits the fan. And then, you can imagine the fucking atomic fucking explosion after that, right? He's like, well, I told you at the beginning, I don't feel obligated to support your family. And now you're telling me you've hidden this for years? You've sent them how much money? And the money you've sent, instead of going to building our future, it's gone to your family? So really, I've been substituting our future for the future of your family. But you told me at the beginning you won't do this. But now you're telling me you've been doing it for months or years. So there can be massive fucking betrayals. And the guy's like, well, fuck this. If you've been doing this behind my back for years, well, then fuck you. Go and fuck off. And, shit happens. She moves out. Relationship's finished. Shit hits the fan. All because of cultural differences and lies to manipulate the situation to benefit her. Because if she didn't lie, he wouldn't be attracted to the situation and her family wouldn't benefit. So, yet again, it's another issue you need to think about with being involved with Filipinos. They place their family higher than you. Whether you're married to a Filipina, whether you're a boyfriend and girlfriend, the fact of the matter is they place the family the priority of the family will always be higher than you, even if you're married to her. And there's the potential, even you're married with her, that she's not going to be honest with you, and she's going to protect the family and send tons of fucking money to the family, and you might not even find out about it. And this is quite a common issue for relationships breaking down. Now, has she got a choice about telling you the truth? Sometimes she doesn't have a choice. Now, why is that? You know, she could have told you at the very beginning that's what she wants, that's what she's going to do. But remember, her priority is her family's welfare over your welfare, which is it's incompatible with the Western way of thinking, where you build up a future as a couple and you separate yourself from your families, right? Your families are responsible for themselves. They can build their own futures. But of course, in the Philippines, things are different, right? If it's the whole reason why there's so many OFWs, overseas Filipino workers, you know, it's, they go overseas to work. And then, of course, a majority of the money they make, they have to send back to the Philippines to support the family, because in a lot of cases, the family is in a position of poverty. They have to rely on that money from the OFW to come back to the Philippines. If that doesn't come, they're in real trouble. So, I mean, that's just the fucking truth of the matter. Shit happens. But the problem is a lot of guys, they just don't expect the shit. What they expect is they expect their Filipino to be honest with them, and they believe she will be honest to them from the very beginning. Most often, you know, they think they're both in love. There's no reason to be dishonest. Love means that she's going to tell me the truth always. There will be nothing hidden. There's no reason for anything to be hidden, when in fact there is shit. There is a reason for shit to be hidden. It's to advantage your family. And this is the cross-cultural differences, right? We generally expect our partner to be completely transparent, to tell us the truth. As long as they tell us the truth, everything's usually okay. But as soon as they start hiding shit, especially for a long period of time, and then you learn the truth, the betrayal just goes out the window so fast. And then you read about this shit in the news, you know, like the foreigner killed the Filipino in his country, or, you know, he went fucking berserk. He went off his fucking brain and killed her or beat her up or something like that, because of the level of betrayal that he was never expecting. Granted, it's never okay to kill or hit your partner, but the reality is sometimes the level of trust is so high, the expectation, that when the betrayal comes, it's like an overwhelming force, and a lot of guys can't deal with it. And then you read about shit that happens in the news, you know, some fucking guy in the US just killed his Filipino, chopped her up, set her body on fire, and all this kind of fucking shit, because the betrayal is just massive. Once you learn that your partner has been lying to you for years, potentially, right, that can completely fucking smash a lot of guys. The trouble is, a lot of guys can't handle it, and they have a lot of emotions invested in the relationship, so much that when this comes along, it's like basically their world has just ended. So some of them go fucking berserk. Of course, what's the correct way with dealing that? The correct way would just to be accepting that this is the reality. We're not fucking compatible. Pack your bags and fuck off. But then there's some guys that will stick out the situation, even though they don't fucking like it. They'll be like, oh, you've betrayed me for so many years, but I've invested so much into us that perhaps I just better stay with you. So what they're essentially saying is, You can continue to betray our trust. It's perfectly fine. There are no fucking consequences to that. And a lot of these motherfuckers that go to the Philippines do exactly the same fucking thing. They invest so much so early, you know, like fucking some of these fucking expats will send money to the Philippines even before they meet them to build houses in the Philippines. Even they haven't met the bitch yet. Or when they get there, they decide, oh, maybe I better build us a house. And of course, they can't fucking own the house, nothing. So it gets put into her name. And then once the final brick has been laid, suddenly the relationship ends. And then you find out that she's lied to him for the whole period of time in order for him to fund the house, to build the house. And then once she's got the house, she basically tells him to fuck off. And then she gives her family somewhere to stay. And that fucking shit happens all the time as well. So again, as the foreigner, you're fucked over. So, you know, what's the fucking conclusion to this? If you're inexperienced and you go there, there are so many traps that you got to look out for. Completely different country, completely different culture. So many scams. Even from the woman that you think is yours, that you put all your trust and faith into, can fuck you over in the end. That's why I tell guys, if you go there, rent places to live, because at any time you can pack up your bags and you can leave. If you find out there's been dishonesty or betrayal, you can just get out of there. But if you build a house, you can't take the house with you. And it's probably going to be in her name as well. So you're going to lose a big chunk of change through her betraying you and lying to you. And there's nothing you can do about it. The title's in her name. It's not like you can go to the court and battle this. The court system in the Philippines is slow, it's expensive, and it favors the Filipino. So good fucking luck in getting your money back, unless you want to go in on the Rafi Tofo show and complain about it, and then you might get a little bit of your money back, but then the woman will just say, well, I don't have any money to pay you. And there'll be fuck all that you can do. And there are plenty of motherfuckers that go on Rafi Tofo and complain, yeah, she created this scam type of relationship with me. I invested all this money into a house or a scam business, and then all of a sudden I find out that she was married and has a boyfriend and has another foreigner she's fucking or having a relationship with or whatever, and all of a sudden he's fucked. Nothing you can do about it. In fact, what a lot of these guys do, they end up fucking depressed. A lot of their life savings fucking disappears and they can't do fuck all to get it back. The court system is against them. Nobody wants to help them. And the only thing they can do is basically fuck off to their country because they can't recover jack shit. They go back to their country with no money. How are they supposed to set themselves up again? They might have given a majority of their life savings to the woman. She's screwed them over. They've got nothing. They're alone. They've been kicked out. They can't even go to their house because they've been trespassed by the Philippines police because the title of the house is in her name. So she's got a right to tell you to fuck off and not come back. So you can't even live in the house that you paid for. Again, this is a story that repeats itself again and again and again because of guys that put too much trust into these women from the very beginning. They think if they're told all the right things at the beginning, they can believe all of it, and then they invest so much, including their emotions as well. Too fast, too early. They don't even ask these women to prove of what they're saying is correct. They don't give them trial periods, nothing. So I guess, you know, a fool and his money is easily parted, but there's just so many guys falling for this kind of stuff. And you want to hit your head against the fucking wall every time you look at these videos on YouTube. But it's the same pattern that happens all the time, essentially. The guys are fall for the stories, the lies, the love bombing, the romance scam. They go all in. Sometimes these guys are leaving their marriages in their countries, leaving their wives for these women in the Philippines. I saw a story about that not too long ago. He divorced his wife to be with this Filipina. That shit happens all the time as well. So he can't even go back to his country and be with his wife again because it's fucking divorced. You know what I'm saying? The other mistake as well is, these guys are believing fucking everything. These women are saying, oh, honey, I would never do anything like that to you. We're different. I'm a different kind of woman. I would never do anything like that to you. And these guys are lapping it up. She's not that kind of woman. Don't worry about it. I'm sending her heaps of money, but she's not a scammer. And then the shit hits the fan later on. Again, the same fucking story again and again and again. Anyway, that's the fucking truth. How long have we been going for now? 1 hour 24. Holy shit, the time goes fast. Do I turn this into 2 hours or what? Probably not. I think that's probably enough. There's a whole lot of other shit I could talk about as well. Maybe we'll leave that for another time. I've probably ranted enough so far for a week. I'll continue next week. If you guys want to come back, that's cool. If you want to tell your friends to come, that's cool. I might rant again next week. So, yeah, that's it. So just whatever position you're in, whether you're intending to go to the Philippines, whether you're currently in the Philippines and you're with somebody, you still have to look at all the signs. You still have to think with your brain instead of your dick. In fact, it's probably a lot better if you're thinking more with your brain than your dick, to be honest, because your dick can get in the way of reading the red flags. That's what happens as well. You know, you're committed to a woman, you're emotionally attached, you're getting laid every night. You're not wanting to look at the red flags, even though the red flags are going to fuck you over later on. So you have to, honestly, you have to stop thinking with your dick and start thinking with your brain. Is your situation healthy? Is it dysfunctional? What are the things that are not being told to me? What's her motivation? How does she view me? What's her behavior? Does she get angry easy whenever I raise the subject of money? Does she get angry easily when I raise the subject of giving money to her family for something? You've got to be fucking clever, right? And the only other thing I'll say is a lot of these motherfuckers are making the mistake of putting their Filipina on the pedestal and making her number one. The truth is, you've got to make yourself number one. Because, to be quite blunt, there'll obviously be, most of the time, nobody else is going to look after you in the fucking Philippines at all if you separate with her. So, you separate with her, she's not going to be looking out for you. Who else is going to be looking out for you? So you need to start as you need to go on, and you need to act in the way where you're not with her, even though you are with her. You need to look out for number one, which means you need to make decisions based upon the benefit to you first, rather than the benefit to her first. And if you follow that rule, you won't get yourself into a lot of trouble. And you probably say to me, oh no, I have to please her and all this kind of shit. No, if you're the motherfucker who has a monthly income and she's relying on you, be the fucking man and be the one to make the boundaries. Make the fucking rules. If you're providing for her, don't bend over and be her bitch, is my advice. You're the man. You make the fucking rules. You make the boundaries. And for your benefit, you need to stick with it. Because once you start going outside of those boundaries and you're letting her dictate what you fucking do, you're starting to lose control and you're more likely to get into trouble. In other words, you give her family a little bit of money, and after a while, you're discovering the amount of money is increasing over time. It's getting more and more and more because they're becoming dependent on you, which is not compatible. It's not healthy. They should be making their own life for themselves, not relying on you. If they're doing that, you're seeing you as an ATM machine. And perhaps most likely the relationship is a transactional one in reality rather than an emotional one. So you got to be clever. You got to look out for that shit. And if you suspect that the relationship is being transactional and that the relationship to her is being superficial based upon money passing hands, then you need to stop that shit straight away. Otherwise, it's just going to get worse. A lot of guys make the mistake. They can see the signs in front of them, but they don't fucking do anything about it. And if you don't do anything about it, it's just like getting close to a fucking black hole in space, right? The problem with black holes is the closer you get to them, the more they're able to suck you in, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it. So this is why you have to treat a relationship with a woman like a fucking black hole. If you are starting to feel the pull of the transactional relationship, even far away, if you don't do anything about it, you're just going to get closer and closer, and it's going to have a stronger pull on you, and you're going to get into more and more trouble the more time that passes. I fucking guarantee it. It always fucking happens. Things often don't get better. They get fucking worse because people get more greedy. The family becomes more greedy. They put more pressure on the woman to suck more money out of you. And you end up, there's nothing fucking left. And then later on, when you're fucking broke or all your money's gone and you have no transactional value to them anymore, you're kicked to the fucking curb. And shit happens. So my advice, be a fucking man. Don't let your Filipina dictate your budget or your income. It's your fucking money. You're entitled to it. It's yours. You fucking earned it through a pension or through a pension through work. It's your fucking money. It's your responsibility to manage your money and not let some bitch manage your money for you, because it's going to be like the fucking black hole. As soon as she starts to manipulate you about what you do with your own money, making decisions for you, it's fucking game over. So if you're in that kind of relationship at the moment, I suggest you take some fucking time out and you assess fucking everything and you start looking at the red flags. And just realize if you continue this path, you can get into a whole lot of fucking trouble. Anyway, I think that's enough for this fucking week. I might do some more ranting next week. So for now, what is it? 1 hour, 31 minutes. That's fucking enough. Probably enough fucking ranting for an hour and a half. That's for sure. So, maybe see you again next week. Thanks a lot. Have a good week. See ya.